All right, everybody, welcome back. Totally Driven Radio and our good friend, Mr. Jim Florentine. Actually, them guys are going to be in Philly this weekend, too, there, Nick. Jim and
really?
Don Jameson, Eddie Trunk. Yeah, they're doing that metal show thing at the Troc Saturday night, which I didn't even know about. And I had already made plans. We're going down to see a couple of the indie artists that we had on our indie special last month are playing in Delaware. So we're going to see them Saturday night. But that's Saturday. Tomorrow, I'm going somewhere very important, very funny, and I'm going to experience Dirty, Sexy, Funny with our next guest, one of the stars of the Dirty, Sexy, Funny tour, the one, the only, Miss Tammy, or I should say, Mrs. Tammy Pescatelli. Tammy, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, thank you. You're going to experience Dirty, Sexy, Funny, so am I. I'm hoping.
I should hope so.
I am hoping. It's our first night of the tour, so we're kicking it off with you guys.
How about that? Well, before we talk Dirty, Sexy, Funny, before we talk anything else that involves anything, I have the most important question of life to ask you.
Okay, shoot.
Being a fellow Italian, is it gravy or sauce?
Where I come from, it's gravy. But
I love you, Tammy.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not stupid enough to know, that it people do call it sauce. But, yeah, we always said gravy. You want more gravy?
How about that? You heard that,
yeah.
Nick, right? Gravy.
It's
I
so
heard
hard.
it, man.
Why, did you guys have that argument? I mean, it just depends. Like, I think, honestly, I mean, we're Sicilian. I guess, my parents are born here in the States, but my grandparents came from Italy. They were in New York, and then they went to Cleveland. So maybe maybe they learned it in New York, and that this whole East Coast kind of thing, New York, Philadelphia, that whole area, maybe.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's funny because every time I have an Italian guest now, it's like protocol. I have to ask them. And everyone I've asked, they all said sauce. You're the first one that agreed with gravy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy because I think it's just it's a weird argument. But also, was yours brown or red?
Red.
Well, we would have brown a lot, but that's
really?
more sausage. Or maybe my mother was a horrible cook. I don't know. Maybe it was spoiled and she wanted to kill us.
Maybe she was just burning the meat into the gravy and it just all blended in.
Right. Maybe it was just old. Maybe the lady next door was throwing it out and my mother grabbed it.
No, the big we had Mario Andretti on a couple months ago. I mean, Mario freaking Andretti from Italy. I mean, I was all excited and I sideswiped him with the question. He was not expecting it, and he's like, "It's a salsa." I'm like, "What? No, it's gravy." He's like, "What?
Yeah.
No, it's salsa." I'm like,
"No,
okay.
in Italy, it's definitely it's sauce." But also, don't forget, he drives cars. It's practically NASCAR, so he's practically an Italian hillbilly. That's a different story. Yeah.
No. Now, a big thing as I read through your stuff and all, you're obviously very happy and proud to be Italian, and you have involved your family.
Wait. I wouldn't go that far. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on.
I'm just kidding. Of course.
Now, I know I have the same problem, but you also, you put it in your bio, and you start off with a crazy Italian family. Is every Italian family crazy? Because I know mine is.
Well, I used to really talk about him a lot in my act, but that's all I really knew. And, yeah, I mean, as far as I know, I don't know any, that's why it's never been on television. You'll never see the Huxtables. I used to laugh because my black friends would go, "Oh, finally we get, the Bill Cosby show, we get a doctor and a lawyer." And I go, "Well, we're still waiting." Like, you've never seen, the only Italian lawyer you have ever seen on TV was Joe Pesci.
Yeah, right.
Like you've never seen where like you could just be a normal Italian family, be loud and, "Oh, I'm a teacher and I'm," you're never going to see that.
It's crazy, I actually I had my family on here a couple of weeks ago. I did an Easter special with them, and
oh my gosh, that's because they've been hitting you up hard. How come I'm not on the show, right?
You know what? Not really. It was something because being around them, I mean, they are literally the definition of a crazy Italian family. And I kept getting the idea in my head. I said, you know what, we're going to try it. So we did it on Easter Monday. And I had like 14 of them on here, and they were just hollering and screaming. And and I'll tell you the story, too. Like, the grandparents came over from Italy to New York and then down to Philly. Well, my grandfather and my grandmother were first cousins. My grandmother.
Oh my God.
My grandmother was.
Corky?
My grandmother was involved with Al Capone or something like this, and my grandfather bought my grandmother from my great grandfather for a bottle of wine.
You know what's funny, and I don't mean to, and I'm not disparaging your family, and I don't want to get into a duel or something.
No, go ahead.
But it's Italian people. How, like when you hear about someone has a past life, and they were always like a queen or a king, or like
right.
Cleopatra or King Henry. The Italian people always, our big claim to fame. Oh, he went to prom. He went to prom. With a few. She used to date Al Capone's. My grandfather ran. He was vice president of the Teamsters in Cleveland behind Jimmy Hoffa. Like it's always connected to some connected guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how. And the worst part is like before my grandmother died, when she was like going through dementia or whatever she was going through, she was living at my uncle's house, and she used to sit on the front porch and just say, "He's coming," and my cousin would be like, "Who's coming?" She's like, "Al." She's like, "Al who?" "Al Capone. He's coming to pick me up for our date." She's like, "Grandma, he's been dead for 70 years." She's like, "What are you talking about? He's coming. I just talked to him on the phone." Okay. And she would sit there for hours waiting for Al Capone to show up.
Oh, sweet that is. That's why I named my son after my husband in case I get dementia like that, because a lot of Italian people do. So we have to only know one name.
The only one. Yeah. I guess that's why I was named after my father then.
It's simple, that way you don't have to learn how to spell very many different things. And listen, as crazy as my family was, they were nothing compared to when I married my husband, because he's first generation Italian from Brooklyn. So that's a whole different kind of crazy. My mother-in-law, I say this as I'm sitting at her house right now, but she was really tough, really, really tough nut to crack when we first started dating and being married. She ripped me. She kept saying I would leave. When I'd go on the road, she would tell me I was going on vacation from my son. Crazy stuff. And then I got a TV show, and she somehow wormed her way in to be like one of the leads on it. And now I'm the best thing that ever happened to her. Of course, some of the other sister-in-laws hoed up, so that's true too. But it's really funny because she said to me the other day, "I love my friends. They say, 'Hey, Rose, when are you going to do the TV show?'" And I'm like, nobody says that to you, Rose. Stop saying that to me. Nobody says that. No, I'm in show business, and nobody says, "When are you going to do a TV show?"
Oh, that's funny. No, you did the reality show thing. How was that? Was it a good experience, bad experience? Did it bond you with your mother-in-law?
It did bond me with my mother-in-law. And, the show that we did from our house, A Stand-Up Mother, it was only good because I was the creator and executive producer. So when I said you can only film my son for, 5 minutes out of the day, that's what they did. You know what I mean? We set rules, and I had a great crew. So it worked out well. But it was a lot of work because it was about me being a wife, mother, and a comedian. And then the crew would go home, and my husband and my son would go to bed, and I'd be there cleaning the house, or we'd have a couple of days off, and I'd go on the road to be a comedian, and then I'd come back, and the crew would be waiting in the house to start filming. Just too much.
Yeah, you got a busy life going on. People think it's all fun and glamour, and oh yeah, you go out and you do stand up, and you're on TV, and you do this and you do that, and they seem to forget that you are a wife and a mother.
Yeah, I always kid about it because I said I have enough of a career. 20 years this year, so I have enough of a career that I have fans, and even a few stalkers, but not enough of it to have security. So.
Now, so something else that stood out on your bio as I was reading it was you said your agent told you your career was over when you got pregnant. Now,
Yeah.
is that true?
That's absolutely true. There had
Really?
I mean, think about it. I joke about this in my act, but who set the precedent? Nobody. Most of my friends that are female comedians, their wives have their babies for them. So there was nobody that I couldn't, at my level. Well, of course, you can always say Joan Rivers had a kid. She's not my level. I'm not her level, I should say. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? But there was nobody that was like me that schleps club to club, does a few theaters, I mean, there was nobody like that for me to see that example.
Now, do you still have that
through your head.
agent?
Go ahead, think.
I was wondering if you still have the same agent after he said that.
No, he got fired, but not because of me. He got fired from the agency, so what could I do?
Oh, okay.
He was a nice guy. He just didn't, I mean, I think men perceive things as what happened in their lives, their mothers, their wives. It just wasn't, at the time when I got pregnant, it was 14 years. I'm like, this wasn't a 14-year ruse to get a man. I was doing this to, I hope this works out so I can be barefoot and pregnant one day.
See, but I would think, looking at it from the comedic standpoint, like that's just something else to feed you more material.
Well, yeah, but see, a lot of people don't leave their kids. And I mean, that's how I make my living, going on the road. But what I did is, instead of living in L.A., my husband's family was in New York, my family was from Cleveland, and weirdly enough, we had a place in Pennsylvania. So we went to this house in Pennsylvania. I moved my parents there. My brothers were all coming to there. They came there on their own. So now when I leave town, nothing in my son's life changes. He has my husband, my whole family, and he's good. It's only difficult for me.
So you put yourself in the bind, but you took care of everybody else.
Yeah, well, it's either that. I mean, if I stayed in Los Angeles, I'd have had to learn Spanish to get a decent nanny, and I don't really feel like learning a new language. Sure.
Now, I mean, that says something about yourself, though. I mean, you really, you could have stayed in L.A., where you probably would have been given or make opportunities easier for yourself, but you really put your family forward first.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's not his fault that his mother chose this and his father. I mean, that's like, I got to give him a chance. The one thing that I got out of this career is I got health insurance. That's when I knew that I was. If you people go, do you think you made it? I don't know. I have health insurance from the union. So I mean, and when I got that health insurance, that's one thing Last Comic gave me, more than anything. I mean, it gave me a lot of nice things, but and when I got health insurance, I went to therapy a long time ago, not for any reason, just to kind of deprogram all the chaos of the guilt in the Italian culture. And I learned that prepared me when I had him, that whatever happens, happens. But he counts more than me.
Wow. You blew me away that you have health insurance through doing stand-up.
Well, I've been doing it for a long time. I mean, it's what 16 Tonight Show appearances will get you.
How about that? That's pretty freaking impressive. I didn't know that was possible. I really didn't.
Oh, yeah. There's so many more people that have more appearances than me. But, it was really nice. It's nice to have a resume, but what happens now? Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get another late night talk show. Who knows? I don't know any of these guys. I knew Jay. Dave was going away. That was always my goal, but it looks like that's not going to happen before my career is over. I don't know any of the new guys, so we'll see. I mean, it's like starting at square one.
Yeah, it is a whole new scene now. The younger guys have all come in.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's weird because
with Letterman leaving, and Stephen Colbert taking over. I mean, I don't get that. I'm not a fan, so I don't know what's going to happen there.
Well, I'm a huge Stephen Colbert fan, but I don't see the connection there. But, you know, I mean, anything is possible. I never, you know, you just never know. You can't even, did you think Arsenio would be back?
No.
I
never.
mean, right? Like, so, and it seems like that show's working out. So, I mean, who's to say? Hollywood is crazy. Good stuff happens, bad stuff happens, and it's just a roller coaster. And I figure this, I mean, nowadays, comedy will find you. I did one 3-minute or 4-minute set on The View, right?
Okay.
I did not know that The View had like 11 million viewers. It shoved my album to number 1 on the iTunes chart. I didn't even expect that. I mean, I think that was like Daytime Ladies, you know?
Wow. That's
Did
awesome.
you know that?
No.
That's more than any nighttime talk show. Insane.
Now, did you when you did The View, had you already hooked up with Jenny to do the special and all? Okay.
Yeah, we have already done. She was so cool because they picked like their favorite comics. So she had already, and you know, I called this Dirty Sexy Funny. I called it the Blue Collar Tour for Whores. So I think that tickled her, and you know.
Now, how is it like? I mean, because you don't usually work clean, right? I mean, you do a lot of.
No,
mostly...
I always work clean. I usually work
really?
clean. Yeah. I'm not a dirty comic whatsoever, but I do swear a lot, and I don't consider swearing dirty. So in my so it's a juxtaposition. So there's always, every comic will tell you there's like a few jokes that they don't do because maybe it doesn't fit in their act. And I always had a couple dirty jokes that I thought of but I didn't want to do because I thought, well, that'll put off my audience, you know. And if I just swear a little bit more, I can trick everybody. Plus, it's another night out of my house.
So, because I was going to say, like, how was it going and working on The View for that daytime audience where you really have to be clean?
Oh, yeah, I'm smart. You can't be, I don't care who you are. There's not a comic alive that has worked all this time, that works, you know, puts their 10,000 hours in, that doesn't know how to do a completely clean set, a completely corporate set, a dirty set, a college set. I mean, real comics know how to adapt to make things work. Whether they want to or not is a different story. But
good point. Now, something you said right there is really huge, and I don't think people realize that. To be a comedian, you really got to be a very smart person because you got to be on your toes at all times.
I think you have to be present. I don't know if you have to be smart, but you have to be present. Although, you know, I mean, you can look at the flip side of that. There are a lot of comics that had a lot of drug issues that obviously weren't present, but were amazing, you know? So,
sure.
I think for me, I have to be in my head, I have to be fully present when I'm on stage because I just can't. If I thought someone could best me, I'm not saying that someone isn't better than me as a comic. I'm saying, but if I thought an audience member could best me out of my own set, then I shouldn't be on stage.
Right. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Now, who were some of the influences for you that made you want to get into comedy?
Well, I always loved stand-up. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to watch all those funny sitcoms, the Archie Bunker, the Sanford and Son, all that kind of stuff. And then Flip Wilson had a show, and Carol Burnett had a show. Those are fun things, you know, Benny Hill stuff. But then stand-up, I started getting hip to stand-up, and I Bill Cosby, I listened to it when he came on HBO, and I saw that special 5 million times. Then on the same time, I had an Eddie Murphy tape that I bought and hid in a closet and listened to on a tape recorder with a sleeping bag over my head because my parents would have killed me. I mean, I knew that Delirious, please. Yeah. I could say it with him verbatim, you know. I used to just always love stand-up comedy. So, I mean, there are guys like Don Irera that slayed me. And still do. I sneak in the room to watch them. And then, you know, just really funny, great comics.
That's funny because the whole thing with Eddie Murphy and the tape recorder, I used to do all of that except for the sleeping bag. I used to just sit in my room with the tape because that was the thing back then was tape recorders, and I would sit there with the tape over and over and over again.
Well, I had to put the sleeping. I would be in the closet with the sleeping bag over my head and over the tape recorder, so my parents couldn't hear because they really would have killed me.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So now the tour, you guys open tomorrow night. You said Philly, Glenside, PA, the Keswick.
Yeah.
How'd you guys? How'd you hook up with Jenny for this whole dirty, sexy,
well,
funny?
She really liked comedy, and she just said, "How come I don't see a funny?" Like she said, she would go to comedy shows and only see like one funny woman per show. So she went on a search for a couple of years trying to find some funny women, and then auditioning them and figuring out who she wanted for this vision that she had. And then I think they needed an old dog, and they came to me and asked me if I'd want to be part of it, and I'm like, listen, I'm not dirty enough, I'm too old to be sexy, and all I got is you're funny. And they were like, come on, do this. And I thought it might be fun to hang out. Because I worked my whole career to try to not be a girl. So, I grew up with boys. I'm in a male-dominated industry. So I'm like, well, maybe this would be fun. So, and that's it.
That's funny. I didn't know nothing about the tour or nothing until literally, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Jenny tweeted it out. Hey, Philly, get your tickets. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I know, because I think that, to be honest with you, I don't think that people knew how to promote this tour. And they still don't. Like, it'll say Jenny McCarthy and Friends. People don't necessarily know the Dirty, Sexy, Funny and stand-up. And then you want to say, like, Lynn Koplitz is a very accomplished comic. Tell them that we're going to be on it. We have a certain fan base, So when you say and Friends, not from an egotistical point, but like let people know so your fans can find you.
Yeah.
You know why? She's dating or engaged to one of the, fastest box office sales of all time. She's dating, or engaged to Donnie Wahlberg with those new kids. All they'd have to do is say, hey, Philly, and within probably 20 minutes they'd be sold out. So comedy's different. I was trying to tell her the other day, but listen, comedy's a last-minute ticket. People got to say if their bills are paid, you got to say it's the 1st and the 15th kind of thing. They got kids. They got to get babysitters. You're marketing only to women maybe, but guys should come because it's really going to be funny. First of all, these girls are going to be all sexed up, so if you're single, it'll be perfect for you. And even if you're married, we all know you have your Rolodex of fantasies anyway, so stop trying to kid, But it's going to be a great show. It really will work for male or female.
And you know what? When she tweeted that out there, I watched the video, and I was like, boom, I'm sold instantly. First off, Jenny's on my Rolodex. And then I watched the video, and all you girls, you're all glammed up, you're sexed up, you're adjusting your boobs and all. I'm like, look at this. This is like a dream tour.
No, that wasn't me. I think
men.
that was Lynn. I wasn't adjusting boobs, was I?
No, I think it was you.
Really?
I think it was you.
I
mean, I don't mind going back and watching the video again.
On stage with the microphone in her hand?
Oh, no. It wasn't on stage. No.
Oh, that I could see. Okay.
So, I was like, all right.
It's so funny. I can't stand to watch myself on TV, which probably is what a lot of other people say.
But when I saw the video, then after I got done, I was like, yes, I want to go. But then I was like, wow, I wonder if this is going to be like a bad scene for guys where guys are going to be like getting ripped and bashed the whole night.
No. It's the opposite. It's so funny. You would think that, right? But this isn't 1982, and we're not, it's not up all night with female comics. These girls are some of the raunchiest broads I have ever heard. Some of the stuff, when you hear Paul about, there will be more, it's less about guys and more about the stuff that women do to guys.
Let me tell you, I've been texting with Paula for the last 24 hours, and we taped a quick interview earlier in a few minute layover of her flight. Yeah, she's out of control.
She is crazy and so funny. And, Justine Marino, she's young and talks about things that she does with her hands. And since she doesn't have a lot of wrinkles and veins on her hands, it'll look nice. Wait till you get age spots, honey.
It's too funny. Too funny. Wow. So, now the whole thing, I mean, this is pretty exciting. I mean, I hope this turns out to be a success for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, look, we filmed the special. It was nice. It's on Epix. Epix will give you some free weeks if you just go to them. And I don't know why they want to give out free weeks, but I don't care because I don't get paid any more or less off the special. So everybody else might as well get some free weeks. And then I think this tour will be fun. I mean, it's just going to take a while for people to know about it and hear about it and understand what's going on. But that's how it works, word of mouth nowadays, right?
Absolutely. And I'll be there. So I just
can't
got
wait to see you. You got to come backstage and say hello.
I will. Somehow, I'll hold a sign up and say, hi, it's me.
Well, you know how to reach me. You have those people when when Al Capone comes by.
Yeah, exactly. I'll stand there with the sign, waiting for Al Capone.
That'll be our sign. That'll be our signal.
Now, one thing I was wondering too, I know I get this from my wife when I do the show. Sometimes I, talk about stuff, and she'll be like, I wish you don't talk about that. How about you? Did you get the same thing from your husband?
No. First of all, if people want the lights paid, if people want new cars, if people want to go on vacation, if people like to have houses in different places, then people need to shut up and let me talk about what I need to talk about. Period.
Well said.
That's it.
Don't
want you unless I will stop talking about you, but then I'm going to stop talking, and I'll just stay home, and we'll see how Christmas works out for everybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's it. Unless you like butter and government cheese, you better just let me say what the hell I need to say.
Now you have it's a DVD that's out?
I do. It's called Finding the Funny. It's on Netflix and iTunes.
Netflix and iTunes. So is there how about an actual DVD, or is it just digital?
They do have actual DVDs, but I don't have any. Yeah, I just didn't want to slug them around places. You know what I mean? They are printing some up because eventually I guess they're going to go to, I believe, like Target and Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Like where they actually, yeah, after a while, after the Netflix deal runs out. And I could get them to sell after shows, but I think I'm going to wait.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what I would think. Like, you got to sell merch on the road to help, keep off the butter and the government cheese.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I don't want anybody touching me with their laryngitis hands.
It's funny, too, because I met Jesse Ventura one time at a book signing, and, you go to shake a person's hand, and he's like, no. I'm like, what? He goes, I don't shake hands. I don't touch people. No. He goes, you could be sick. I don't want your germs. I'm like, okay, Jesse, no problem.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, here's the thing. Like, Roseanne just did that to me. You know why? Because, laryngitis is becoming, it's almost an epidemic in this country right now. And I'm petrified that I'm going to get it. Because if I get laryngitis, it's different. If my cousin gets laryngitis, she calls in sick for a couple of days. I get laryngitis, I lose a week's worth of work. Can you imagine not working for an entire week? Not getting a paycheck for an entire week?
Yeah, so, that wouldn't be good.
Right. So, or you can go to work. Some people can go to work with laryngitis because they just work behind the counter.
Yeah, and then they spread the germs around even more, and then more of us get laryngitis.
There we go, and then that's why Jesse Ventura won't shake your hand.
How about that?
We'll
blame it on Jesse.
I'm sorry.
tomorrow
I
night.
promised my nephew I would. He's 4 years old and he's waiting up for me. I promised I would tuck him in.
Okay, well, you tuck in your nephew. Tomorrow night's a big night. I will see you tomorrow night. Look for the Al Capone sign.
Is that funny that I'm trying to do? I try to balance everything out as much as I can. No wonder I'm crazy. I'm literally sitting here in Brooklyn trying to, trying to make sure that my nephew gets to sleep with a cuddle. Like, why don't I? Why if I should start? Wait till that's why when I'm on stage, that's when it's all about me, and you'll get it. That's why when I go on stage, I'm just vicious anymore. We're just laying it all out there. I'm not vicious against people. I'm just saying I don't have time. I don't have time for stupidity. Minus the racism, I feel like an 80-year-old owner.
So you go on stage to let your aggression out.
I'm so sick of stupid stuff. You take a look at the Donald Sterling case. I don't know an 80-year-old who isn't racist, but I do know that we need to really reevaluate the level of being a side piece. I really need to think that mistresses need to go to a meeting and figure out what the hell their role is.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because not the whole mistress part, but when something like that happens, like with this whole Sterling debacle, do you, as a comedian, do you salivate and say thank you? Because the material you're going to get off of it.
To some people, yes, I do, but then also it's like it's a slippery slope because people are so charged up about it. They can't. To me, I think more so than anything is that I think it's less about skin color and more about that the picture took a picture, or the mistress took a picture with his mortal enemy. It'd be like if Batman's mistress took a picture with the Joker. You know,
right. Right.
I don't know that Magic Johnson he hates him because he's black, or just because he's had to be his bastard stepchild for so many years.
Oh, too funny. Well, Tammy, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. That's so cool of you.
No problem. Hey, real quick, though, before I let you go to tuck in your nephew, can you just give me a quick ID and say, this is Tammy Pescatelli, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio?
Absolutely. Hey, this is Tammy Pescatelli. Oh, so you ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Are you doing this so you can do a whole long thing like you did to Jimmy Florentine?
Only if you screw it up.
Hey, this is Tammy Pescatelli, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio. And it's so good that I tweeted that I was on the show before I was even on the show. That's how good this show is.
See that? You knew you would have a good time.
I did, too. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again.
Bye, honey. Thanks.
See ya. Take care. All right, everybody, there she goes, Tammy Pescatelli. And she knows it's gravy. She's a smart woman. So go tomorrow night, the Keswick Theater in Glenside, PA. Dirty, sexy, funny. You got Tammy Pescatelli, Jenny McCarthy hosting, and our other friend, Paula Bell, which will be playing an interview. And there's like 3 other female comedians. And it's going to be a freaking hilarious time, I have a feeling. You got to get out here.
I can't wait to hear about it. Soon. A couple more months.
We got to like align the stars and the whole make sure it's in the right timing.
Right.
So we got some time to kill before I figure we'll play the Paula interview at the top of the hour. I know I had a few things I wanted to talk about. I know you had some things you wanted to talk about that we talked beforehand. So let's let you get your story out first about your day today.
Oh, well, I was just saying that my day went pretty good today. We, me and my wife went out for lunch to a conveyor belt sushi place. So, and that's where our conversation stopped because you needed further explanation.
I stopped you right there. Because as soon as you said conveyor belt sushi, you could have said conveyor belt hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, no matter what food you put at the end about it, you had me sold at conveyor belt. and I just needed to, like, I need clarification on what the hell you were talking about.
All right, well, you know what, I was, sometimes I search through different websites or whatever just looking for, interesting restaurants to go to, and today I found one, and when we got there, it was, pretty simple. It had a bar that you could sit at, and it also had tables, and each one of the tables, one side of it was, up against like a booth, but only in between it was like this rotating conveyor belt that went all around. It went through the middle so every table could get it, and then it went up and around the bar and back to where the sushi guys are. And basically what they did, man, was they just put different kinds of stuff out there with, little labels and stuff. And the plates are different colors. And on your table it tells you, a white plate is $1, a yellow plate is $2, a blue plate is $3, a red plate is $5. And you basically just eat what you want and then give them your plates at the end. And they just add it up, and that's it, man. And, like, they just had the most awesome stuff. I mean, these guys get to be a little creative, and I had, like, this spicy tuna with mango that was just out of this world.
Now, it almost sounds like, dude, if you were in Vegas, it'd be like a slot machine sushi or something.
Right. Well, before I was talking to you, actually, I was thinking, the guy that decides to, like, do the American version of this is going to make a fortune. Like, if you could go in and sit down and get, like, not full meals, but say, like, 2 sliders or, you know what I mean, just like a little thing of French fries or just, a massive amount of little different things that boom, that's the price. And they just add up your plates real quick and you're out of there. I think that guy might make some bucks, dude.
Dude, totally. Like, that's a great concept. But you just got to figure out, like, the Americanized version, like, what would be the right food to do it with.
Well, I imagine you do it with, like, you do it, like, tapas style. So you really could, like, how hard would it be to put 3 meatballs and some sauce in a little bowl? You know what I mean? If they're really good meatballs, or you know what I mean? The sort of the possibility there is really almost endless.
You mean meatballs and gravy?
Absolutely. Now, I have a buddy, John, and he's from South Philly as well, and he says gravy, Sunday gravy, every week. So.
And it is Sunday gravy, and it's damn delicious.